2023 has been the year of AI. There have been a lot of impactful launches and moments of AI in 2023. In this video, I'm going to list my top AI moments of 2023 in no particular order, and we are also going to have some special mentions. I wanted to start this video with the most impactful that sparked this entire OpenAI revolution. When I say OpenAI, it is Open Space AI, not the OpenAI company. And to start with, it is fitting to give the credit where it is due, and that is the Llama model that was launched by Meta AI in February 24, 2023. This was the first Llama model, and in fact, it was not an instruct fine-tune model at the time. This model completely set off the OpenAI revolution, where complete strangers started coming together and started building on top of this model. In fact, the name Llama is so popular now that there are projects that have built on top of Llama, and later on Llama 2 came in, and that further decreased the gap between closed source models and open models. So if there is one thing that I would be really thankful in 2023, that is the Llama model from Meta AI, which was launched for the first time. And this model did not come without any, it's not like this model came without any controversies. Initially, Meta AI launched this model with an access only request form. The model weights leaked on torrents, and then it kind of became like a meme where everybody started sharing the model weights. Ultimately, Meta kind of acknowledged that this happened, and Meta launched Llama 2 with completely open weights and changed the open AI landscape completely. The next one that I wanted to discuss is Llama CPP. Just like I mentioned that Llama models gave rise to a whole new ecosystem of open source tools and technologies, and one of the most prominent one is Llama CPP that came from Georgy Kirganov. So this is a project that was initially one man's project, but today if you see at the end of 2023, this is one of the biggest projects that enables people run large language models on consumer hardwares, whether it is CPU or GPU. In fact, this project has become much bigger, that we have new projects like Llama and LM Studio, but all thanks to Llama CPP and the file formats like GGML that came further from this particular man has completely changed the landscape of how large language models are run. Initially, this is the first PR that you are seeing, like the very first commit 9 months ago. If you see, the main goal of this model at that time was to run 4-bit quantized large language model, particularly in this case Llama model, to be run on MacBooks, and that small idea has turned into like a very giant project today with 47 or 48,000 GitHub stars. And like I said, this has completely transformed how we run large language models without relying on heavy GPUs like NVIDIA GPU. The next one I wanted to highlight is Stanford ALPA, an instruction following Llama model. It is very easy for us to forget how we moved from a base model to an instruction following family of models. And thanks to Stanford Alpaca, one of the key projects that put this thought in our mind that with a very small amount of data, you can train these large language models, especially the pre-trained base models, to become an instruction following model. And like I said, this also came with the Llama model, where they used the Llama model, they shared their data set, and with that data set, you can fine tune a large language model, in this particular case a Llama model, and then make it an instruction fine tuning model. And like every other item that we have discussed so far, this also sparked a huge revolution in fine tuning models. Even back then, this is like almost 9 months ago, we are talking about somewhere in the March, and this came and gave the idea, and it kind of sparked where you can have a large language model that can follow instruction, not necessarily a next word prediction model, but more like a model that can take a question or an instruction and give you an output. And this Stanford Alpaca did not only release the model or the data set, but they also gave you every single instruction about how they generated data, how you can do fine tuning, the script for you to do fine tuning with transformers library, and they kind of gave you all the details. In fact, they went into the detail to share, okay, how do you handle out of memory error and what can you do with LoRa. So this was like a very key moment that told us how to go about in this entire fine tuning world, and today we have thousands of fine tuning models. The next one is not a product or a project from an AI. This is actually a community. LocalLlama has been one of my go-to places to learn anything that happens in OpenAI landscape. This community was started on March 10, 2023, and now you have 97,000 members. And in fact, this has been credited as one of the key sources of information even by someone like Andrei Karpathy, who was previously leading the self-driving effort at Tesla and currently part of the OpenAI without space. So this is a very incredible community where you can learn everything about models, tutorials, discussions, model rankings, news, memes. I mean, you can name anything that is related to OpenAI landscape. LocalLlama has got you covered. And once again, this name also has got llama in it. So you can see the impact of the llama models that were launched by Meta AI. As we have continuously spoken about llama in everything that we discuss, it is quite easy for us to forget what came after that. Even though we had llama based models, suddenly out of nowhere, Abu Dhabi based Technology Innovation Institute came in and introduced a new model called Falcon LLM. At that time, this was March 15, 2023. At that time, Falcon was one of the best performing models. In fact, at that time, everybody was quite interested in outperforming GPT-3, and this model outperformed GPT-3 according to them with 40 billion parameters. And this model was like completely trained from scratch, like llama, how it was completely trained from scratch. This model was completely trained from scratch, and they had released the model completely open. At that time, I think there were a little bit of complications around commercial use, but then later on they went ahead and clarified that anybody can use this model completely for open use, like whatever commercial use that they wanted. And this model was a significant achievement back then in March 2023 that kind of proved a point that you don't need only big tech, whether it is Facebook, whether it is OpenAI, whether it is Google, for you to have strong foundation or pre-trained models. Rather, even smaller tech institutes or smaller academic shops can actually create large language models that are powerful and that can outperform big models from big tech. The next one I wanted to talk about is a human who is an anonymous human on the internet, that is TekniuM. As much as we talk about all these models that came in like Falcon, like Llama, it is very important for us to acknowledge the kind of role that these model fine tuners have played in 2023. This particular fine tuner, in this case TekniuM, first model was base GPT-4 x Alpaca role play LoRa. I mean, this was like a meme at the time that all these models have very crazy names. But since then, TekniuM has become one of the most powerful, most popular, most prolific model fine tuners. And it is not just the model that they release, it's also the data sets that they build has become like the base data set for anybody to use whenever a new model comes in. And you can see all the models that TekniuM has launched, like for example the Open Hermes 2.5 Mistral 7 billion model from TekniuM has been downloaded 42,000 times at the time of this video recording. So the the quality of the impact of people like TekniuM. I mean, I'm mentioning TekniuM as one person, but I think it's a family of people who are like model fine tuners like TekniuM, inspired by TekniuM, following the roots and the road of TekniuM, has made a huge impact in how these models are fine tuned for different use cases, and setting new benchmarks continuously, and also sharing their learnings openly on the internet. So this is quite immense that we have model fine tuners like TekniuM to democratize the AI machine learning fine tuning process, and also the fine tuned models that are completely open source and we can use it for anything that we want. Speaking of model fine tuning, I think this entire list would not be complete if there is this person not mentioned on this list, and it will be complete injustice to the entire AI ecosystem if TheBloke is not mentioned. TheBloke single-handedly, I'm not sure like if there is a team or anything, but TheBloke is one person. The person's name is Tom Jobbins. TheBloke is the single name that everybody would know if you are interested in running large language models on your local machine. We previously spoke about GGML format, we previously spoke about Llama CPP, but TheBloke has been a very prolific in translating any new models, in quantizing any new models into these following formats like GGML, GPTQ, AWQ, all these formats, and making it easily available. I mean, this is one of the first models that TheBloke released almost 9 months back. But if you see TheBloke now, he's one of the most followed people on Hugging Face. You can see that there are almost 12,500 followers, and every second, every minute, you can see some model coming in from Bloke. I mean, it is almost humanly impossible, but there are like almost 3,600 models contributed by Bloke that, like I said, the GGML, GGUF, GPTQ, AWQ, multiple formats that let you run large language models be run on local machines. In fact, tools like LLama, tools like LM Studio, tools like GPT-4 all completely rely on these models that are quantized and released by TheBloke, and it is quite an immense contribution to the OpenAI land. The next one has been something that sparked the AI agents revolution. Even though we treated large language models as next word prediction engines, then we went on to use large language models as chatbots, where we give an instruction and that would give us a response back. There was a spark of AI agents, the autonomous AI agents that can accomplish tasks for human beings. Sometimes one task, sometimes multiple levels of tasks, where the agents would create the task and the agents would complete the task. And one such project in 2023 is called AutoGPT. AutoGPT kind of came in and became one of the very popular projects of open source at the time. Like right now, it has got 150,000 GitHub stars. But back then, it was one of the most growing projects. I think these days, AutoGPT has ended up becoming a company in itself. But if you see back then, AutoGPT kind of gave an idea, kind of gave this insight to all of us, saying that these large language models, not only they are really good at following instructions, they can also help you in planning. They can also help you in accomplishing tasks if they are prompted in such a way that you can build an autonomous agent artifact or autonomous agent architecture with these large language models. And AutoGPT was quite a vision at that point to say that, okay, you can use these AI LLMs to create an agent architecture, an agent framework that can kind of do whatever you want. Even though until now everything that we discussed has been about open source, I think it is quite fair to include GPT-4 as one of the most impactful AI launches in 2023. GPT-4 came in and completely crushed everybody's hope about what AI models can do. And when I say completely crushed hope, I actually mean it in a positive way, that people actually had a notion what AI can do, and most of those things were around very simple tasks. The kind of numbers that GPT-4 came with, the kind of accuracy with which it came, the kind of development that it had over GPT 3.5, the kind of scores that it got on benchmarks, the kind of level in which it beat human beings on exams, this was completely unseen before. Humans had not seen anything like this before. And not only that, GPT-4 not only came as a paper. I mean, one of the reason why there is no Gemini Ultra or Gemini in this video is that Gemini Ultra was only on paper, but GPT-4 was not on paper. This came so many months ago, but this came as a productionized solution where people could ultimately use GPT-4. Today I can use GPT-4 on ChatGPT Plus. GPT-4 is available as an API for people to build applications on top of it. So building a model is one thing, distributing a model is another thing, but making a model as a service for people to build applications on top of that is truly one of the greatest things that OpenAI has enabled all the developers to do. They literally took AI from only AI engineers and gave it to the hands of software developers, and GPT-4 played a crucial, very important role. Not just the model was quite amazing, but the engineering around the model, the way they had deployed the model made it possible for anybody to build an application on top of it. And GPT-4 deserves a place on this list primarily for that. And even in December 2023, there is not a single open large language model that completely overtakes GPT-4. There are certain tasks where some models do better than GPT-4, but there is not a single model holistically that has taken over GPT-4 that shows the kind of quality of GPT-4 and how much OpenAI is ahead of the game of the rest of the industry. If we had to say GPT-4 was a leap forward in the large language model universe, GPT-4 Vision has set a much higher benchmark and sparked the multimodal revolution in the multimodality of the large language models. So language models are only text, it has got only text in it, but GPT-4 Vision is one of those multimodal models that said, okay, now we have done enough in large language models, we should have multimodality. So you have images, you have text, everything in the same space, that you can query the large language model with images and also the text. And GPT-4 Vision was also the leap forward from OpenAI for multimodality that kind of made people like go completely bonkers about what this model can do. Even today, GPT-4 Vision is quite capable. People have created screenshot to code, people have created fitness applications, people have created meme engines. All these things possible because GPT-4 Vision or GPT-4V is extremely capable of understanding images, and it can also help you chat with those images, help you translate these images into like whatever that you want to read. It is quite mind-blowingly amazing what OpenAI has done with GPT-4 Vision. That has led to multiple open source projects like Lava, QuenVL and all the other open large multimodal models, but they are still catching up with GPT-4 Vision, making it truly the leader of multimodal models in the world. If there is one thing that has sparked the open AI revolution, just like Llama did at the start of the year, that is without any doubt the Mistral 7 billion parameter model that was launched with Apache 2.0 license by Mistral AI, a French startup. If there is one thing that Falcon proved us was that, okay, anybody can build a really successful pre-trained model and then they can release it. If there is one thing that model fine-tuners like TekniuM proved us is that synthetic data matters a lot. Not only the original data, but synthetic data matters a lot. The quality of data is very important. I think Mistral is the company that took all these principles together and created a new model, and then they went on with a magnet link and released the model Mistral 7 billion parameter model with Apache 2.0 license that completely crushed larger models. In fact, today, while this video is being recorded on December end, this is one of the most powerful models that have created a huge ecosystem of fine-tuned models available, and truly Mistral AI's 7 billion parameter model is one of the best models to use if you're starting your 2024, like if you were to pick one model that can do a range of things that can run on your local machine with quantization, that should be Mistral 7 billion parameter model. This is not an AI announcement, this is not an AI product, but this deserves a place on this list primarily because I wanted to show that everybody who is paranoid about AI doesn't have to be paranoid about AI in itself, rather should be paranoid about humans who handle this AI. This saga of OpenAI firing Sam Altman and then calling back Sam Altman shows how fragile human beings are, human minds are, how egoistic human beings are, and for that one reason I wanted to actually place this in my top 15 AI list, because without this you would always think that human beings are perfect and human beings can do great things in life, but this actually shows that human beings are as fragile as every other system in this planet, and these humans are handling the most powerful AI systems, which again indicates why open space AI is a very important thing. Because if you have a big company like OpenAI controlling AGI and the CEO has got a cult following, I don't know what will happen when that CEO has control of that AGI, whether the AGI exists or not. That is exactly why true AI democratization happens only when everybody knows how to use this AI, and that is exactly why this incident takes a place in this particular list, because OpenAI's saga shows how fragile human minds are. With this, I want to give special mentions to 5 different products. The first one being Google Colab. Even though I'm not a big fan of everything that Google does, Google Colab is truly a great platform that has enabled people like me who did not have a GPU to create tutorials and spread AI education through Google Colab, with which people like you could run large language models, fine-tune large language models, train large language models, and share it with others. So thanks to Google for this amazing product that is until now free. I'm not sure about what will happen in the future. The next one is a library that is called axolotl. So this library has enabled people like TekniuM and all the other model fine tuners to actually fine tune the large language models with so much ease and so much control. The next library is peft, PEFT, parameter efficient fine tuning, and this library has enabled people to use this methods like LoRa that has truly enabled people to create or make it easier to create large language model fine-tuned adapters that can run even on Google T4 GPU. The next one is TRL. That's a library from Hugging Face that had started with SFT, that is supervised fine-tuning trainer, and SFT kind of gave us the idea that it is so easy to do instruction fine-tuning with something like TRL in combination with peft. And the final library, I don't think this library started in 2023, but still I wanted to give a huge shout out, is Accelerate. Accelerate has truly made it possible for you to do memory management with so much ease that you can use Google Colab or sometimes even your local machine, and you can probably like balance the CPU and GPU, and you can have that memory management done by Accelerate, so that you can run large language models, you can fine tune large language models with limited amount of memory. Without Accelerate, it wouldn't have otherwise possible for all these consumer grade hardware users to use large language models for inference and also to fine tune or train large language models. I mean, all these things that we just discussed today, starting from Llama until Accelerate, everything has contributed to this AI revolution that happened in 2023 in some way, and I have managed to cover the key things that I felt like one of the most important things. If you think there was something important that I forgot to mention, please let me know in the comment section. Otherwise, I'm looking forward to be a prolific AI educator in 2024, and see you in the next video.